Welcome back to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Rain, and today we have our technical analysis slash price analysis with some fundamental analysis to a lot of the picks that are hot right now or what's going on, as well as many suggestions from you. And so today we have a special guest from Dfinity, Paul, who you've gotten to know over the past 2 months, who's joined with us once a week to go over his price analysis, which he's been doing for 30 years, not just in crypto, but in every type of charting. And it makes him especially good with that broad analysis at crypto because he's had so much experience reading the charts. And today, Bitcoin is down. In fact, almost everything is down. So we're going to have some fun sharing our thoughts on the many tokens that we're going to review today. So let's go ahead and get this party started. Join me, Rainmakers. For sure, join us and join the Rainmaker family. And if you like this video as you're watching it, hit that like button. If you don't like it, hit that unlike button and dislike button and tell us what you don't like about it. So without any further waiting, let's bring on Paul to join us from Dfinity. Paul, are you there?
I am indeed. It's great to be here. Really good to be back on the show. Hi guys. Hi everyone. Hope you're very well.
Very good to have you.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure. There's a lot going on. I think last time we were mentioning that Bitcoin probably needed to retrace, and I think it started that retracement. But once it's finished that retracement, I think we're going to be off to new highs. So that 100,000 before year end is still a target. We've seen a mixture of moves in the altcoins. We've seen some really good moves in things like Solana, but not all of them have moved. So some are being a bit sluggish, which is interesting. But we've got your picks, so they're not necessarily my picks. These are your picks that you want to see. Thank you for asking for them, and we can get straight into them if you'd like.
Yeah, what I'd love to do is go through some of the users' picks. Would also love to hear some of the ones that you've been watching, especially with your style about how you like to catch it once they're already showing breakout and they're already running.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a few. I mean, one of the ones that has kind of popped up on my radar is actually is one that you put me onto, which was Harmony. Now, Harmony, I don't think was asked for last week, but I wanted to talk about it, and I think we just ran out of time because there was lots of charts to look at. But this has been absolutely amazing. So it's actually having a retracement now, which is in line with the rest of the market. But this has been fantastic. A great breakout. We've definitely talked about it. I can't remember at which stage we talked about it, but I was sort of itching to talk about it last week. Had a very busy week, couldn't update you, unfortunately, but I wanted to give you some breakouts, and this would have been one of them. So Harmony's the first one that I think has looked really good. And there was also Dot, I think, was looking good. But we may have actually covered that as well. But it was in a range, and it's now broken out to the upside. And I think this is performing really well. I mean, it's having a correction given that everything else is correcting, and there is a bit of support coming up, which is the prior resistance at 38. So it may come back and test that. But overall, I think even though the markets are retracing, there will be some buy points coming in. Now, the other market that I went long was Proton. If you have a look, that's done okay. I was getting a bit itchy to sell some, and it sort of broke into a new high, which was great, but then hit 0.05, and I thought, oh, that's quite a nice level, and it tried to break it twice and failed. Now it's coming back for a retracement. Now, I don't actually think that this is an overall sell yet. I think it will probably come back and retest this breakout point at 0.03, and then we should go back up again. So I don't mind a retracement like this. It's having a really solid run. If it gets back below this 0.03 level, I might be not concerned, but I think about lightening up. I mean, my view was actually pretty much in line with what you've said about it, which was when the market goes up and you get your capital back, get out of it, and then just let the market play with what's left. So that's a really good risk reward strategy. If it goes up a lot, then great. And if it goes down, you're sort of 100% covered because you've taken your initial stake out. But interestingly, I think if everything bounces, something like this might be good on a retracement. But as I said before, I bought this, so I don't really want to talk my book on it. So the other ones, I haven't got any positions in, so I can give or maybe very small in Ether and Bitcoin. Nothing to talk about, nothing to write home about. So I can give you. I always try and give you an independent view. But if I got a position in it, you might think I'm talking my book, and I wouldn't want to do that.
Well, yeah, that is the challenge, right? But I feel like the users and myself, we feel enough sincerity from you, that especially when you disclose your positions in it kind of wipes it off the board and doesn't come across as you pumping your book, right?
Yeah, I'd hope not, but thank you.
You've always come across to me is really high on sincerity scale, and I know my my viewers feel the same because we interact a lot in our Telegram group discussions. So
thank you very much. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, because it's like we're all in this together. We all want to make money out of this stuff and catch some really great opportunities. And there's no need to do anything other than be honest. But let's start with the first one that you've asked for, which is Splyt. Now, I do remember looking at Splyt, and it's kind of bumping along the bottom at the moment. And from a technical perspective, maybe if you're looking at things like, I know you mentioned in the intro, which is really accurate analysis of who I am. I am a chart reader. I'm a price reader. Other people use inverted commas technical analysis with things like moving averages and oscillators. You've got to be careful with that other stuff. And I'd have to teach you all about it to explain why, which would take a bit of time. But there is a reason why I keep things very simple. One of the reasons is that oscillators can often read oversold when a market is still going down, and it can work against you. And they can read overbought when a market is going up and a really good buy. So you have to understand how to use that other side of technical analysis. But from a price reading perspective, this is still in a range. It's still looking boring. If it's a good fundamental trade, then it's at fairly attractive levels. But I can't buy this until I see this. You see this curvature here, the way it's gone down. It's hit support. It's holding some really good support here, 0.098. As long as it holds this support, I think it will be okay. I wouldn't want to see it break below, but it's sort of bumping along the bottom at the moment. And I'd rather see it sort of edging back upwards for me before it becomes a buy. So as you know, I like breakouts and I like upward trends, and I'm willing to be patient. So I think I need to be a bit more patient on this one.
Sure. Makes sense. ShopX, I love it. It's in the dot ecosystem. So essentially it's Shopify on the blockchain.
Oh, wow.
And so whether they make it long term or not, they do have a powerful team. They raised a lot of funds when they were selling enough funds to really get their project started. But it just went through that post-launch lulls. Like it went like 200x or something from its IDO. It's now retraced close to their initial DEX offering price. We're probably a couple X from what their initial DEX offering price was. And so as some of the pre-sale token unlocks and other things that happen, and it's been out of the hype cycle, and DOT particularly, Polkadot and its ecosystem, has been out of the hype cycle, the price have gotten really attractive. And I like to buy when it's boring. It's definitely boring right now. Yeah. And so I have a large bag of this that I picked up at levels close to this and even above this, and I'm just happy to hold and wait for it to take off. So I usually take the longer term swing trades, but what we really appreciate about having Paul on is he has a very different way of trading from me. And so it just brings a second perspective, because our goal is to create the most informed audience in all of crypto. My guess is over the next 5 years, if we do create the most informed audience in all of crypto, then we'll also likely that correlates to the wealthiest audience in all of crypto over time. At least that's my hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also noted from last week that you don't necessarily like every single coin from a fundamental perspective. Like there's only some that you like when they go down. So you are choosy about what you like, and there is a good reason, which I find very interesting. I think that's that's really solid research, and you've got to be happy with your own research. Otherwise, you won't hold your position. Otherwise, you'll just end up bailing out or, not sticking with it. And especially if you're thinking that this is going to go a long way, you might not actually capitalize on the whole move. So if you waited long enough for a move, you may as well ride out the big move when it comes, rather than just grabbing a quick profit and running. But but when we look at the next one, which is one chain, again, I think we were looking at this last week. We are pretty much in a similar situation. We're in a holding pattern. We're kind of halfway between the high and the low of the recent range. And it's just still circling around, waiting for a breakout. Now, I would have liked this to have gone, given that there should be some. We're talking about trickle down from the majors into the altcoins last week, and we didn't see them all move. We saw some move really nicely, like Solana, but some haven't moved, and I'm still waiting for them to move. So this is one of them. It's just literally dead center, stuck in this range. But it has come out broadly from this inverse head and shoulders, which is a very nice pattern. So we've seen a breakout. It dipped below the neckline. So this is, sorry, I've been speaking all day at a conference, so if my voice goes, you're going to have to excuse me. But this was a downward trend. We had an inverse head and shoulders, a breakout to the upside. It's come back below the neckline, which is not brilliant, but it's still okay, because the overall trend is up. That overall upward trend from here, from its low, from its sort of panic low, is still an upward trend. So there's a nice upward trend going on here. But it's actually being forced down as well by the trend here. So that's why I'm neutral, because it's kind of in between the two. So it needs to break out of this little pattern here, which is, you see that we got almost like a mirror image, a kind of smaller version of this, of everything here. So it needs to break out to the upside and then head towards, I think if we can take out this 1.30 level, that would be really nice, because then it would put 2.2 on the targets, and then we could start looking for a new high. But at the moment, we're still waiting for it. So we're going to have to be, again, a bit more patient with this one.
Agreed. I still love this one, and from a fundamental analysis level, but technical analysis, their previous all-time high in 2018 was about 10x from here. So it hasn't even come back to its previous all-time high. I think it can exceed this. Really, they've had not a lot of marketing behind it. They're one of those projects that has amazing technicals or amazing technical abilities and produce some cross-chain compatibility. They're the leaders in that technology. What they haven't always done is gotten the word out for bigger adoption. So we'll see if that comes into play. I like it. I like the team. I like the CEO. He came on and interviewed with us about 4 months ago. Very brilliant man. They've had some big announcements. One of the largest corporations in the world is using a side chain of WAN chain to test integrating all their different, they're a huge business in integrating all those different things, trying to get them to talk to each other, all their different sub-companies. So.
Wow. So it sounds fascinating. I will, I think at these levels, it's pretty attractive. And as you say, from when you talk about the technology, it becomes more exciting. But yeah, the market needs to wake up to that technology. And, it's so early that there's plenty of time for that to happen. Right. So the next one is Chainlink. Sorry, hang on.
Or Splyt. Yeah.
Splyt. Yeah.
Either one.
Yeah. Oh, Splyt. Sorry. No, it's Splyt. Have I not looked at Splyt? No, I haven't. I think I've
not yet.
I must have jumped. Sorry about that. Oh, no. No, we have.
We did. Yeah. We've got on there twice. Yep.
Yeah. So where have we got then? So it would be Chainlink. So it is Chainlink. Here we are. So Chainlink actually looks fairly similar to one chain, in as much as that it was in the middle of this range, which was in the middle of a range, if you see what I mean. So it's in the middle of a short-term range, which was in the middle of a longer-term range. It had a go at breakout, and look at this, it's come straight back today, which is a bit of a shame. I would like that to have not been such a deep retracement. It looks like it wants to retouch this support here at 28, between 28 and 27 before it goes up. But the trend is still up. So I think overall, even though it's correcting with the rest of the market, it's still a positive market. So yeah, that's a fairly aggressive pullback. But look, it's not out of whack with the way the market is trading. So, and what I mean by that is it's not a massive volatility move that's a trend ending move. It's done it before and then recovered from it. So, I would like it to have stuck a little higher here and then consolidated while everything pulled back and then take the high out. But it's not done that. So I can't sort of want it to do things. It will do what it wants, and we read into it, what we will. So this trend is up, and that's still good. So it's not negated its trend, and I think overall it will still move up with the rest of the market, but it's just had a bit of a stronger pullback than I would have liked in one day. So I will keep an eye on that.
Yeah, agreed.
Great. And so the next one is Adax. So I'll just pop that in. Now I don't know if you pronounce it Adax or Adax, but either way, is this looking like the right market for you?
Yeah. There is a little bit of history that doesn't show here. Really, when it came out, went up to about 30 cents, back down to 10 cents, which was its lowest pre-sale price. And then later climbed all the way up to 240, which we catch that climb here.
Right. Again, this is one of those wait and sees because it's still stuck in this range. It's near the low of the range, so I think if there is a bit of an ease off in the majors, then this one will probably get pressed towards the bottom end of its range at 0.81. But 0.81 is massive support. So if you're liking the longer term technology, I think you could get an opportunity to buy it a little bit cheaper. Relatively speaking, if this starts to trend, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference between where it is now and 0.81. I know percentage terms it is pretty big, but you could split your capital up a little bit and buy some here, and then if it goes lower, buy some again. But overall, technically, it's still stuck in a range. So I need to see it break out before I get excited. So I'm only saying that on the basis of if you think that there's good fundamental reasons to hold it, then I think we might see better levels to buy it. But I want to see it clear this line, this resistance line. That would be the first sign for me that things are starting to turn. And it's a really good resistance line because it's hit it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, bang on. And so if it can get through that, that's the first sort of trigger that takes us towards 120. And then it gets a bit more exciting.
Yeah, when it breaks 120. This one's one of the many decentralized exchanges vying for supremacy on Cardano.
Right.
And so this one's I talked about a lot. A friend turned me on to their pre-sale, 4 months ago, and we were able to get in pretty cheap. And some of my viewers that, if you subscribe on the Telegram channel, and there's a link below, you can join us there. A lot of times I'm able to update you on Telegram much faster than I'm able to update you on YouTube. And so I talked to the community there and told them, look, I didn't know much about Adax at the time. It's since had some good positive things come out, but it was a total risk back when I rolled the dice on it. And it's done well, and it could have a lot more upside than this. I like the charts where it's at overall. It's got this nice rounded W with 2 bottoms to it. Like, it had this interesting wick in the middle of there. And so Cardano's a little bit out of the narrative, and it's been out of it for about 6 weeks. It's going to come back into it. So my guess is as Cardano comes back into focus, maybe in a month to 6 weeks from now, Adax will be ready to run with it too. And you never know. All of a sudden some big announcement could come out that could pump Cardano or even Adax. But it looks like it just wants to trade sideways still for a little while.
Yeah. It's good to be, like, when the coins are in this state, it's really good to do this sort of research just to say, look, that's a sleeper for the moment, but we will watch it. We'll keep an eye on it, put some trigger levels in. On some of these charting systems, you can actually put alerts. So if it breaks a level, it can warn you. So that's the sort of thing I would do if you don't want to go through tons of charts. But yeah, then it's very interesting. So the next one is COTI, COTI, I believe, and let's have a look against the US dollar, see what's going on there. Now this has been great, actually. This has been really good. Look, you can't argue with any market that has managed to break into a new high in this environment. And okay, it's retraced back down, which is fair enough, but it's sitting on or very close to some massive support. So this 0.45 area was a previous massive ceiling. So it tried to break here, couldn't, tried again, couldn't. Third time, so it went 1, 2, 3, and then broke it on the third, which often happens on a third. And goes in, it managed to actually penetrate into the new high, which is fantastic, really bullish. But profit takings pushed it back down again. So it should hold this 0.45 level, which was the initial breakout point, excuse me, before moving higher once again. So I think if this manages another leg up, it could be, really strong. Now, this overall pattern maybe will be described by some as what we call a flag. Now, it's a little bit volatile for a flag for me, but I'm willing to give it that handle, because a flag is a very sharp upward move and then a compression in price and then another sharp upward move. So I think once this consolidation is over, we could see a very similar move like this, from 0.28 went all the way up to 0.66. We'll see a similar sort of 0.44 going up to 0.81 in short order. So yeah, I'd like it to hold over this 0.45 level. I think that's really good support. A little bit of change below it is fine. But if it's closing much below it, then I would expect a bit more of retracement with everything else. So I'd like it to hit this and just bounce and then stay in this range. And then when it breaks this high point, which I'm going to say is around 0.56, that's when we get our buy signal. And hopefully we'll get to 0.81 or thereabouts very quickly.
Great. Fundamentally, I like COTI. I've held it for a long time. I bought this one back in November and December when it was very boring. You can see that back on the charts below 9 cents is like 4 cents. And when we had this parabolic move earlier this year, I sold off 70% of my position. I recently sold off the other 30% as we got into the 60 cents range. And not because I don't believe in COTI, not because I don't like it. From here, I always ask myself, where can it do in the coming 3 months? And it could still hit some really good numbers, but it's experienced some of its bigger growth. And so I rolled that into ones that are a lot more boring, that don't have as much going on yet, that I think will in the near future. So I took the rest of my profits out on COTI, and it did very well for me. It's about a 15x. On the last 30% that I took it. The earlier stuff is we had this parabolic move. I think I started taking profits at 35 cents. Happened to time some of it to get it around 50 cents. So it's been a profitable investment. I mean, the leadership of COTI is fantastic. They are doing a stable coin on Cardano. That was a huge announcement. It's part of what's driving it to be in everyone's mind. And the charts look bullish, that it could go to 80 cents or $1 in the near future, maybe the next month. Am I reading that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Cool.
I just switched to the coin. Sorry, I didn't mean to there, but yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, 80 cents to $1. So, it's a decent exit time for me on that. Not that I don't believe in it. And that's just kind of how I trade things. Paul looks for things like, then if it breaks up above this, he's going to hold it for a short time and take that ride up to 80 cents, which is a really nice profit over the short time that he holds it.
Yeah, I mean, so the way I'm looking at it is, as an individual chart, what could it do? But I get what you're saying. There could be, better technologies out there with better risk reward. So just because it might do that, it doesn't mean that it's not, that it's actually better than something else. It probably isn't. So I can see your way of thinking. But so overall, it's still strong, though. That's what I like about it. It has done some good breakouts. And there's this thing called Elliott Wave, which I won't go into. But if this is a beginning of a 5-wave sequence, we've got, this is wave 1, this is wave 2. this is wave 3, this is wave 4, then we should have another similar type of wave for wave 5. So things normally move up in 5 waves before you have a bigger correction. So it could have one last blast before we have a much bigger correction, and then that would be another opportunity to buy in. But it could go up to say 0.81 or 0.9, maybe $1, like you say, but then retrace all the way back to 0.6 before it goes up again. But that's taking us into next year, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So XPR, I think we've already looked at. So the next one was MIM. So I was just popping that in and confusing you by putting the wrong chart up there.
Now, we haven't looked at Proton or XPR today. We have covered it in the recent weeks because it has been on fire. Yeah. And so every week our viewers have requested that we look at it again the next week.
Sure.
So it's definitely an exciting one. And this is one that you actually entered in on, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I thought I quickly mentioned it at the top of the show, but I don't mind mentioning it again. So yeah, this was because I like this rounding bottom here as it was breaking up, and we managed to jump on it fairly early at this point, and then it took us to the previous high, which I thought there'd be a little correction off it because it's such an important and then it punctured through that, which was great. But this 0.05 level, it was like psychological, 0.5 or 0.05. I thought, well, that's gone a long way in a very short space of time. Take a bit of profit. But it's come back in a kind of 3-wave decline. So 1, 2, 3, which is a good corrective wave in Elliott Wave terms. So I would like it to, well, I don't say I like it to. I think it will come back to this previous breakout point at 0.03 and have a little look at that, touch that, and then go back up again. So I'm still bullish, but I could feel it wanted to correct, which is fine because everything else is correcting. But then I think it will be on to its next move. So I think it's still very interesting, still a very interesting market.
Thank you for bringing that back. We did cover that. That's my fault.
No, it's okay. No problem. So the next one is MIM, which I'm pretty sure we haven't done recently. Is it Mimatic or is it Mimble coin? Okay. Did somebody just want us to say Mimble coin? Is that what it is?
Mimble is a coin that I haven't heard for a while. MIM, I don't know. This is one that came from the viewers. So there's Magic Internet Money, which it could be.
Oh, right.
And that's a token. That's number 68 on CoinMarketCap, which is crazy that it's so high. Magic Internet Money. And I do not know this one at all. So how is it? It has 2 billion coins in circulation, and that they're trading for about $1 a piece. And their website is literally abracadabra money. I don't think we want to spend any time on this. This is not the type of stuff I spend my time on. But congratulations to them for getting their market cap so high. That's a big accomplishment, being
pretty funny.
Number 68 rank on CoinGecko. So congratulations. That's all we'll address with Magic Internet Money.
Magic Internet Money. Okay, very funny. That's good. So spell token, talking of magic. Is that a similar thing or what's? Oh wow. Okay.
There we go. There was that chart.
Yeah. Okay. Is this because of Halloween coming up? Maybe I don't know. But,
right.
So yeah, this has been great. Look.
MIM. So it's related to that. So the other one, Magic Internet Money, must be their stable coin because traded pretty sideways. And abracadabra.money. This is the spell token. Is their token. Gosh, there's I don't know all the projects out there. There's like 4 million these days, and so interesting. The spell token is number on rank 91 on CoinMarketCap. And this has been obviously taking off, which is probably why we got a recommendation to look at it.
Yeah.
But those are some pretty significant gains already.
Yes. So we've got a big spike in the data, which is kind of messing things up a little bit here. So I'm having to only look at the most recent transaction. But has come out of a very nice, what we call a triangular constriction. I really like those. And nice upward trend, pullback, which is fine. and then a little consolidation here. But this is a triangular constriction, as I was saying. It broke up and then broke the new high, which is really good, but it's sort of shot back down again, which is so it's been hit back down, which is a bit of a shame because I would have liked this to have held these highs, because normally when the market manages to eject from a range like that, it goes on a much faster trajectory higher. It starts a new trend. And if it gets slapped back like this, it makes me just a little bit concerned that it's failed. And what I mean by failed in the sense that maybe this is turning into like something more significant as a top. But at the moment, because the overall trend is bullish, I think we will stick with the bullish side for now. But I wouldn't be confident in sort of like the way I see things is would I like to buy it and just go on holiday for a month and not think about it? And I think I would be wondering whether this trend line break here is significant or not, and would this turn into something bigger? So the jury's out on that. I don't really know. I'm not sure at the moment. But I do think that it's done very well recently, and so it does justify being rebought on a retracement. But the halfway point of this triangle comes in at 0.017. So I think that would be my line in the sand. If it takes out 0.017, I would get a bit concerned and think, well, maybe I'd look for another coin. But while it's up there, while it's above it, I think I'll give it a chance. And, given it's retracing in line with everything else, I think that's fine. But yeah, interesting coin. As I say, not one that I've seen before. And I guess that's part of the interest of this segment, that we all find things that we haven't seen before. And
yeah, what I enjoy about sometimes the viewers too is they catch on to things, because I'm just a person. I can't keep my fingers on the pulse of everything, even though I spend 4 to 6 hours per day on crypto and just trying to keep up to date on information. So some of my best picks have come from the viewers on coins they had me review, and I looked at the fundamental analysis or even sometimes just the chart, and I'm like, wow, that chart looks good.
yeah,
So,
yeah, I think this is one of them that we may have talked to. I remember seeing this chart.
yeah, we've talked about this one.
Yeah, and this was like a fantastic consolidation, a triangular constriction, and it's trading beautifully as far as technicals go, because we got this support here that became resistance that became support. This triangular constriction that it broke out, it's let the high is said goodbye to that a long time ago, and it's in a really nice trend. So yeah, it's had a pullback today, but so what? It's done some really good work to the upside. It's having a pullback is not a problem at all, and it's a very gentle. Well, it's actually quite a big pullback in terms of its actual price, but if you look at the rate of trend, it's not really affecting that at all. So that's well within normal parameters for a pullback. Yeah, and I still like it. So that's really good. In fact, there's this little consolidation here. I don't know if we actually talked about it when it had done that. I don't think we could have done 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, maybe we did. If we looked at it last week, we should have been in that consolidation. So I'm actually annoyed that I didn't buy that. I think I bought that breakout because that looked really good.
This is exactly your type of trade. Yep.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
it goes up, it creates a triangular constriction pattern, breaks the upside.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This is one that I've had my eye on since I covered it in March the first time, made some really good money on it. Cashed out a lot of my gains, held them. But if you look at its price since July, when it got really, really boring, essentially went all the way down to 0.75 cents. So it's up almost 10x. It was up over 10x from there. And it still seems like it has some room to run.
Yeah.
And so some really good gains. That's why I like to buy when it's boring and just hold for longer periods. So projects with solid fundamentals. And the project has a lot of good things going for it. And then just hold it for longer periods, because you do get some massive gains over time, but it does require patience.
So from your point of view, is this one that you would lighten up on, or do you think just hold it?
Yes, at this point, I have been lightening up on it because, so I hear lots of people talking about it. That's one of my signals for an exit signal, right, for taking profits. So I held on to some of mine as it's been going crazy. I have been taking profits out of it so that I can roll into things that are boring. So could it go another 10x from here? It could. But I feel like when things are running for a while, to me it feels like the ice is getting thinner and then thinner. And I don't know when it's going to break me standing on it. Don't want to be standing on it when it breaks. And so that's when I start diversifying out to lighten my weight that's sitting on that ice, so that if I end up breaking through, the amount that falls through that isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't used to do that. That's how I got burned in 2017. I did do that a little bit, not near the same extent this time. So maybe I'm a little bit gun shy. Maybe I take profits too soon, but it's worked out well for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you could do is, as you were saying before, get rid of your initial capital, and then maybe a bit more, whatever the gains are, you can just let them run, or let a portion of them run, and then you don't have to watch it, because if it goes up, you can come back to it like a few months or even years later and see where it is. But if you look at the price, you get very tempted to take profits. So time, is that Chrono US dollar or Chronotech US dollar, or is that something else?
CRO is the, what is it?
Oh no, because it's called
Crypto.com.
it's time is the code. TIME is code.
Oh, that's the one you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So time, I don't know. So there's Chrono.tech. There's like 6 different ones. I don't know which one they're talking about. Right. Wonderland is number 100 in CoinMarketCap. So my guess is that's what they're talking about. Wonderland.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So that's got some life to it at the moment, but not much history. So it's tricky. It's tricky to call.
CoinGecko, you'll get a lot more history if you pull up CoinGecko. You won't have the charting capabilities, but yeah, you'll at least get a way better history on it. It doesn't go back all that far.
So Wonderland. So Wonderland time. Okay. I see why. Yeah. Oh, hello.
And that's just today. I know, right? Something big came out. That's a big jump.
Oh, wow.
So, but that chart is very interesting.
Wow, I'm maybe using the wrong charting system, because that is what I look for, because that is one of those constrictions where, when I've talked about how the market, I wish you'd get rid of that thing. It's really annoying me. I can't point at it without it showing. So it's covering up the price action I'm trying to show you with this little, this box. But when you have a constriction like this and it's heading towards a new high, that's when I really like it, because anything that's gone down and then recovered like that, it increases the possibility of a breakout like this. And wow, has it broken out? That's really good. So yeah, that looks like, well, there's nothing you can say about it from a technical point of view other than it should go higher. I know it's a volatile market. It could easily retrace and do all those sorts of things, but this is a good chart. This is a good market. It's rising. Unless it's not a bad bit of data. That is a real traded price. So yeah, no, it's looking really good. No, thanks. I'm going to be watching that. I'm going to be watching it, because that's a really good shout. So it looks like it's only just getting going as well. So,
What's really fun over the coming 2 or 3 months is this is exactly the market that Paul likes to trade. And so we're going to get a lot of these triangular constrictions. I call them pullbacks or retracements, where it then is just building up some steam, kind of like pulling a rubber band back so that then it can fly again. And we're going to get a lot of those in the coming 3 months. Yeah, so absolutely. It's exciting times.
For sure. I mean, yeah, there will be some weeks like this week where a lot of the markets are just retracing or kind of pulling back and consolidating and all that sort of stuff. But you'll know when we've hit something, like hit some really good gold, as it were. We'll hit some technical patterns where I'll say, yeah, I'm getting that, and you'll know that I feel really strongly about it. I mean, we're not advising anybody to do anything. This is all probability, and what happens today can change tomorrow. Who knows where the market's really going to go? If we knew 100%, we'd put everything we own into one trade. but when the probabilities are looking good, you will know about it. And if the trends are going to start to accelerate over the coming months, as we expect, then it's going to be a really interesting time in all crypto, and possibly in all markets. But so that's a really good one. So ICE is the next one. Now, ICE Rock, is that ICE Rock Mining maybe, or ICE Chain?
No, it's probably Popsicle Finance.
Oh,
It's
okay.
number 22 and 41 on, or
Yeah.
number 220 on CoinGecko.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh man, why
See,
didn't I see this before? This is
I know. I've never heard of it before.
gosh.
Popsicle Finance with ICE being their ticker symbol. That's fun.
And there's me thinking I did okay with XPR. That's like, and this comes along, and you go, whoa, I should have had some.
Yeah.
But
September and August, those were some great buys on this one. It's gone 16x since
yeah,
$2.
no, this is very nice. Look, again, pullback nearly off the 36 level, so it's retracing. Now I'm just having a look to see if we've got these 5 waves. But look, this rounding base was where the action was at, and break of a new high, boom. That's when the trend starts. We've pulled back. So I'm telling you what's happened before, but the trend is still up. But it's become a bit more volatile, as you can see. So I'm guessing you're wondering whether you should stick with it, or take profits. There isn't much of a signal to say the trend is over. There has been a bit of a spike where the market's gone up and then sort of hit a brick wall and then slam back. But that's not anything that's greater in degree to what it's done before and recovered.
Mhm.
So where I would be concerned is if it goes up and then comes back down again, makes like this M shape, which is a double top pattern, which indicates the end of a trend. And it hasn't done that. So again, I think I'd have to watch it. But anything up to 23 on a retracement is fine, because that's the prior support from the previous resistance. And to be quite honest, anything that's moved up this quickly is warranted if it has a consolidation or a sideways move. What I'd really like to see is a triangular constriction of some kind. And that would tell us that if it can stay within the kind of 26 to 34 range for, say, a month or so, and constrict, then it would lead us into the next winding up move for the next big move to the upside. But as far as pure technicals goes, right here, right now, there isn't a sell signal. Doesn't mean it won't go down. It's just that there's no strong sell signal, and it's still operating from this strong upward trend. So I don't want to stand in front of it. I'd like to see it also trade very much in line with the majors. So as long as it's following the majors are pulled back. So this pulls back, that's okay. If the majors goes up and then it has a consolidation and then goes up, that's a really good sign. If it doesn't follow within a couple of weeks of the majors and they're roaring higher, then I would think on an intermarket basis, I would have a concern. But overall, I wish I'd seen this a long time ago. So if you bought this ages ago, well done. That's really good trading.
Yeah, especially if they bought this, like, really the breakout on this was back in September. I wanted to, if you can leave that up for just a sec, I want to share
Cool.
some thoughts
Yeah,
I had on it. But this is why I buy when it's boring. And so this one I've never heard of before. I have no idea on the fundamentals of it. But see at this nice rounded bottom here. It didn't even form much of a W, just this big rounded bottom. And then it went off, tested here, came back, and then it just broke up so strong. And it's been running. Now this is where a lot of people FOMO in. They're like, oh my gosh, it's gone up crazy. And it will probably go up another leg from here, maybe see $50, and then it's going to have probably a really big retracement. Now I don't know that's going to happen. Those are just what the probability suggests might happen. I especially don't know because I don't know the fundamentals of the project. I do see that pattern play out over and over again, because this is where most people start buying, is a FOMO into it after this long parabolic move. What I'm doing, if I had this one, I'd be personally taking some profits off the table, way off the table. By now, I'd be taking like 50% of everything off the table, and I would be throwing into something that's much earlier on its curve here, because a lot of projects are going to do this exact signal here. And so some of the ones I've been following for months that have been down, especially some of the dot ecosystem projects, been down. And it's hard when it's down like this. It's hard to see that patience pays off. This one shows it perfectly, that sometimes when you're just patient and it seems so boring and you're just so tempted to sell it to one that's already running. This is why I don't. Even though they don't always break out like this, they often do as we get into this time in the 4-year cycle. And so this is what I'm waiting for on many, many, many positions.
Yeah, looking great. As I say, keep those suggestions coming, because if we can pick up on one of these before it breaks out, we'll all be really happy. But I will find a way to scan the markets for this. What I tend to do is look at the charts at CoinTrader Pro and see what's hot on the first few pages. But I need to find a better way to mine out these types of moves before they happen. So I use TradingView as a charting package, and it's got some good crypto stuff on it, but nothing like this from what I can see. So I need to find a way of automating it out. But at the moment, please keep your suggestions coming, because it really is fantastic to see what you're looking at, and it puts us onto some really interesting markets at the same time. So
if you'd like us to review some next week when we have Paul on again, put them in the comments in this video. And so if you put them and you join our Telegram group, which I encourage you to, great, but don't message me there. Put them in the comments of this video, because when we prepare for this video, what we do is we go and we grab the comments off the prior one, and that's what we use to put in there. So they have to be on this video, and up to 2 suggestions, and we will review them.
Yeah, and also if you can put some fundamental information if you know about it. So if you know about some of the technology, because I know Crypto Rain knows a lot about these coins, but there's a limit to what anybody can sort of analyze.
It would have been great if whoever recommended Popsicle Finance had given us some details on there, what they liked about it, because I don't know that one.
Yeah, so. but thank you for putting it up there, because that's a great shout. I really like it.
Now this one's versus Bitcoin. It's a little bit more interesting versus US dollar.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, that was yeah, I didn't mean to click on that particular one. This is the interesting one. So this is trying to go for the, what a weird chart. This is it. This is really interesting. Mm-hmm. So this is not like anything that we've seen before, because most of the markets have like hit a high and then come back, and they're actually trying to go back to their previous high, if you see what I mean. Whereas this has made a high, come back, made a brand new high, come all the way back again, and now is going up again. So this is like, if you're riding this, you must be nerves of steel or a nervous wreck. I don't know which, because it's really swinging around. But it's on its next upward leg. So I would say, I would have been worried if it had come down and it stayed down here, but at least the major lows are rising. So the low from here to here to here is going up. I mean, that's a very gentle rate, but at least each retracement is being bought into, which is a good sign. Now, this is quite a lot of volatility to deal with, and I prefer to see much smaller, not smaller, but smoother volatility. Well, not even volatility, but smoother trends as the market's going up. So either it's a very small coin, or it's just getting pushed around by some, bigger players or big opinions that seem to be creating this volatility. So I'm not sure quite why it's trading in this way, because it looks a bit weird in the way that it's going up. If you look at how it came down here and how it went up here, that was really smooth, but this isn't like that. It's almost like there's a battle going on. And it tried to get into a new high, and it got slapped back into its range again, which is, again, quite volatile. But look, having said that, it's still at relatively low levels compared to the US dollar. And I think it still has some upside potential. But I think what's weird is I would normally like to go for a new high or see how it's approaching its new high. But it's got this previous one here that failed that seems to be causing it to be a bit sticky close to it. So it's trying to break free of this level for some reason that stopped it or capped it before. But again, it's overall in line with the market in terms of going up. So I'm not going to argue with it. I think we should be seeing it trade towards 0.25 in the next sort of month or so. That allows for a retracement and for it to move back up again. Where I would be concerned about it is if it takes out 0.145. That's a really good support level that it should hold. If it breaks that, it would have also broken the short-term upward trend line from here, and then it would just sag back into a range. So I think we need to know a bit about the fundamentals to see whether there's a more important story underlying it. But technically, it's balanced towards the upside. It's just, instead of it being like an 80-20 or 70-30, it's more like a 60-40.
Yeah, Crypto.com, their CRO token, is the token for their platform, and they have some incentives for you to hold the CRO token. In fact, one of the massive retracements they had was after it was pumping tremendously. I think it's this retracement back in like August area. They changed the incentives, so the incentives weren't quite as strong because they were paying out huge rewards to the token holders, and that's what caused, I think it was in 2020, that retracement, but it could have been the one from this March. I think what happened this March was just it retraced with the whole rest of the market in April, May, June.
Yeah.
So the 2021 or 2020 here, I think this is when they changed their incentive, because it hit like in the top 8 on CoinMarketCap, maybe even higher, like top 5 because of that. And then it had this huge retracement, and see this big parabolic move. This is why I take profits out along the way, because I've ridden this side down, and it's no fun to ride that side down after having had this massive parabolic move. So then it did another parabolic move early this year with much of the whole market. It's retraced, and it hasn't quite retained even the levels, the previous highs that it hit earlier this year. But my guess is it will, just as most of the whole crypto market will. I think what we saw in March is going to be maybe 1/3 the size of what we see that's coming for us. And that's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, and these technical patterns here for a top and for a base are really good. Like, they're really sort of good, clean technical patterns. This area here is very volatile, so that would have been difficult to call because it was trying to make a new high. But really, this volatility is normally a sign of a reversal, which it ended up doing. And then it's come back and made a short-term reversal here again. So it does start its trends from decent technical patterns. But it's just, the only thing that kind of concerned me a little bit was that it wasn't a smooth upward move, which we'd seen before. But, that there's still upside potential, which is, makes it interesting. So thank you for suggesting it. So that was CRO. So next one is Cosmos. So I'll put that up. So Cosmos against the US dollar. Now, isn't that interesting that high area here was very similar in volatility to the top that we saw in the previous one in CRO. But again, this is overall bullish. Trend is up. 45 is clearly massive resistance. So there's people bailing out at 45 or just below 45. I'm guessing the spread, even though it's not showing it's trading at 45, when you put the spread on top, it probably is 45 offered as a price. But yeah, this is looking okay. This is looking good. Little bit too volatile in this area here, but relatively speaking, compared to the rest of the market, it's in a good upward trend. So I would not like to see it below 29. That would be a topping signal. So I would be inclined to bail out of everything if it goes below 29.50, if it breaks it. But it's trying to break its new high. Obviously, there's so much resistance at 45 that it keeps getting pushed back off it. And it's not even that it gets pushed gently back off it and it still trades near the high. It's been slapped all the way back down again, which is quite a big move. But again, there has been a very solid trend. So some volatility has got to be expected. See, I think we can get a little bit spoiled and expect it just to go up in a straight line and be really smooth. And that's just me wanting it to be like that. But sometimes we've got to accept a bit of volatility, especially in these smaller coins. But the upward trend line is still in effect, but that's why I've put in a kind of parachute bailout level at 29. So if you had bought it, it would be good to exit some just to get your capital back. But if it can take out this 45, then, and I think it will, I don't think it'll do it this week. I just think it'll take a couple of weeks, and it might want to do it on a retracement. Then you could be looking at a move to 60. So this is a good chart, but just watch this volatility. That's a fairly big range, and that can turn into a top. It hasn't yet, but that can do. So I'd be watching 29 as a trigger point for a top.
Yeah, Cosmos is one of the most interesting projects, and they have an SDK that a lot of other projects are building on. So they often don't get limelight, even though some things that were built using their SDK do.
Oh, right.
But the only reason I'm not still holding is their market cap's so high, and it's at almost 11 billion. So where can it go from here? It could probably 5x. And so I have the blue chips that I'm in are Solana. I do have some Terra that I think is built on the Cosmos SDK. But I have some in Cardano. I cashed out my Polkadot I had on this high, and I do realize it's got more to run from here, but I just rolled it into small alt caps where it was more bearish, more boring, like SolBank. So I needed some funds to buy some of the stuff that was really boring that hasn't pumped yet, and so I pulled it from some of the ones that had, like Polkadot. But I am still holding a large amount of Cardano, and I do have some Terra, and I do have some, what's the other one? Solana.
Yeah.
And I don't have any Cosmos right now, but I believe in this project. I think it's going to be around for a very long time. It's just that I think from here it might 5x, could 10x, maybe. But I tend to roll those profits into things that I think will more easily 10x, maybe 50x, maybe 100x.
Right. So next one is Roon, which is a interesting name. And is that Roon US dollar? Yeah, it's not. I want it to be Thorchain because that sounds.
It is Thorchain. Yeah, we want to look at Thorchain.
Oh, great! That's such a cool name. I'd want to buy it just because of that. Yeah. Well, this looks good. I mean, this is breaking out. It's So we've seen the high. It's come back. So that's its retracement. Then it's had its midpoint of the two. And it's had this sort of this section here. Now, have we? I don't remember talking about this, so I don't think we've seen it.
I know we have, but it's been a few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I can't remember all of them because there are so many. But I recognize the look of the chart, but I just don't remember the name. So, which I should do really, because Thorchain is a pretty cool name. But no, this is good. This is really good because it's trying to take out this prior resistance, and it's moving in an upward trend. It's had a pullback, so is the rest of the market. So that's not a problem to me at all. I would like to follow this actually, because I think if it consolidates here, makes a little continuation pattern, and there's a few which would be nice. If it doesn't go any lower than this, that's a really good sign. But I would expect over the coming weeks for it to sort of push up towards this prior resistance at 15. And possibly at the outside go for a move to 20. So yeah, this is looking good. It's a good shout. So, thank you for suggesting it.
Yeah, it's looking attractive, very attractive. I love the technology behind Thorchain and Roon and what they're doing, and it's very much geared towards some privacy, kind of like a decentralized exchange that can't be taken down. So I'm really looking forward to what they're doing. I hope it's successful. So
yes, I think I remember you mentioning that before. So yeah, quite how you remember all of them, I don't know. Maybe I should be taking notes. What I should really do is go back through the show and make some notes on all the things that you've said and look back through the charts. But you know what? The week comes around so quickly. I just can't believe how quickly it does. And I never seem to have enough time during the week, but I will make time. because this is getting really, these markets are getting really, really
Very exciting.
very
Yes,
exciting.
I've been waiting 3 years for this market. 3 years.
Wow.
So when I was about 6 months into my crypto experience, I realized how the pattern repeats every 4 years. And that from top to top is about a 4 year cycle. And so I started October 4 years ago. So 3.5 years ago, I realized, oh my gosh, it repeats in this 4 year cycle. So I've been waiting for this time for 3.5 years now. So I'm so excited for the next 3 months. If you're here, you're positioned so well so you could really get a taste of some really good gains if you make some smart decisions. Hopefully you'll stick around with us during the bear market, because look how cheap some of these were in the bear market. And my guess is many projects are going to get that cheap again as many go to sleep because it gets boring. And imagine picking up some of these ones at say $2 that then go to $150 during the following run. It's incredible what it can do for your financial situation, but it does require patience. It does require you to stick around when many people leave, because when it gets kind of boring and there's these big retracements, many didn't take profits on the way up. They get totally burned. They get disgusted looking at their portfolio every day, so they just panic sell out, and then they don't even want to think about crypto. But those of us who stick around, that's where life-changing wealth was gained. I didn't make life-changing wealth last cycle. Turned 15,000 into a little around 165,000, which then went to 3,000 because I didn't take profits, set them on the sidelines completely. I left them in some high-risk alts that retraced, some of them 99.5%. And I got punished hard for waiting, but I learned my lesson. I stuck around when it was cheap because I've been investing for a long time and I know buy low, sell high. So during that time, I did a lot of studying on how to really figure out which projects have better chances. I took some time to learn some technical analysis as well during the bear market. I definitely stuck around. And already so far this cycle has created life-changing wealth for me. See, you have an advantage over I did in that I didn't know the things we're sharing with you for this cycle so that you can keep some of the gains that you make, if not all the gains that you make, set them on the sidelines so that you're well positioned and very liquid to buy during the bear market. So in the last bear market, I had to put additional money in because that 3,000 wasn't enough to turn into much. So as I got extra money from my day job, I would set aside some and I kept putting it into crypto. And thank goodness I did, because it's done tremendous since that time. And I just think you'll be so much better positioned if you can do some good things for your portfolio, take some profits on the sidelines, and then stick around with us, educate, have fun, and then when it gets cheap, buy when it's cheap, and then wait and let the 5 year plan come and work for you.
Absolutely. And obviously tell us what you're looking at and keep giving us your picks for these coins, because it's all good fun. So the last one is VRA. VRA. Is this
Veracity, yep.
Veracity?
VRA.
Now,
Yep.
hang on. Did we not look at this? Looks exactly like something else. Yeah, we've already looked at VRA, so that's yeah. So that's just a double up on it because I was about to say, yeah, this looks really great.
Yep, we did look at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
done that. So
Now, could we look at one more
yeah,
freeway token? I just did an interview with the CEO, so definitely check that one. I'm so bullish on this. I think this has one of the best chances, personal opinion, not financial advice to you, but my opinion, one of the best chances for 100x from here. And it's currently trading under a penny. And there's a lot of reasons why I'm so bullish on this. So check out that interview with the CEO, as well as I did a full coverage video on this. I wanted Paul's analysis on the price charts. Now, he usually doesn't buy till he gets signals of breaking out. I like to buy when it's boring, these nice rounded bottoms. So for me, this is entry time all day long, and I have been dollar cost averaging into it.
right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You kind of preempted what I was going to say. We have still got it's still sort of sleeping, so it's like there's not many people who've woken up to it as yet, but we are heading towards a kind of crunch point where it should break out. Now, whether that's to the upside or not, I'm not sure. Because
I pray that it breaks down. And even though I have lots in this already, I would love for it to break down. Now, they have a token unlock on November 2nd of 2 billion tokens. That would equate to a large percentage of their supply, and what that is ecosystem tokens. So most of the pre-sale investors have gotten all their tokens. If they were going to sell them, they sold them. And so I think the pre-sale investors, because the project is 1 year old as of November 2nd, and so then in the vesting schedule, there's this big unlock for the project. So right now, CoinGecko is saying in circulation, there are 2 billion of the 10 billion tokens. And all of a sudden, the ecosystem or the project themselves is going to get 2 billion tokens unlocked. Now, they're not going to sell all 2 billion tokens, but even if they sell off like 5% of those, that could bring the price down for, I love buying on heavy discounts. So if that happens, great. I'm not going to be hurt because I already have a bunch that I didn't get so cheap. I'm going to be grateful for the opportunity that I'm going to sell more things that have had some big gains, and I'm going to roll it into that really cheap. Because whatever they're going to sell, and it might be a fraction. And in the interview with the CEO, they shared what those ecosystems tokens are for, and I can share with you a little bit more than what he can share, in that they're having some large institutions come in that want to put money on the platform, but they can't hold cryptocurrency. And so they can hold like stable coins, but they can't hold like a freeway token themselves. But in order to have access to the supercharger, they have to have 20% of the portfolio in freeway tokens. So some of these, they're going to allow some of the institutions say, hey, don't worry about the freeway token. We will let you use some of ours that we have, so that the institutions can benefit from their superchargers without having to buy a freeway token, which by the rules, they're not able to. And so it's great that they have a bunch that they're going to use. I have to imagine they might sell a little bit just to get more liquidity as a project, because there's salaries, ongoing expenses and stuff. And I hope they do, because if so, and this breaks down, man, I would love to get this at 0.3 cents. I don't know if it's possible, but that would make me happy. If it broke down to its previous low of 0.5 cents, that would make me so happy. I would take some serious profits on some other projects, and I would be a massive buyer at that price.
Yeah. So price-wise, from a technical point of view, it is constricting. So you've got these rising lows and these falling highs. So it's being what I call painted into a corner, which means that we're ready for a breakout of some kind. But as I say, directionally, without knowing anything else about it, it'd be very difficult to call that direction. I suspect it could be lower, actually. Just given,
especially with that November 2nd unlock, if they sell any portion of that, because the total circulating supply is close to 2 billion right now, and they're going to have 20% of their supply unlocked. They're not going to sell most of those, but even if they sold like 5% of what they had unlocked, that's enough to drive the price down to half a cent or below.
Yeah. So yeah, 0.005 is really solid support there. So if it gets there like that to hold, if that doesn't, then 0.003 is the next level. But
yeah,
but let's see. I mean, again, that's one that I'd love to keep an eye on, because I'm saying that there's a balance that it should go down, but remember that everything else is moving up, and the market will be sweeping around looking for bargains. And they might not care about the unlock, and they might start buying early. So that's why I would like to keep an eye on a trigger on a breakout, because I don't want to miss a nice momentum move and have to chase it. So yeah. So an interesting call. Thank you. And so, thanks.
A little note on this. I don't know when it's supposed to air, but Elliott Trades recorded a video with the CEO, and that will be airing if it hasn't already. When it does, the price tends to spike because he's got an audience now of 300 or 400,000. And one of the things I love about Freeway Token is the masses aren't aware of it yet. And so my audience, you just are positioned early, because I know enough about this project. I've been speaking with them for 7 months. It interested me on a fundamental level when I first heard about it, though it took me a little bit to wrap my mind around what they were doing, how they were paying out. Because if you put money like stable coins in their supercharger, you can get some ridiculously high interest rates. I'm even going to stop telling people how high it is. I'll just tell you it's over 10%. I'll tell you it's even higher than 20% that you can get on Anchor Protocol. But I'll leave it at that, 20% plus. So if you think about it, that's over well, in this case, it's over 2% a month that you get. So it's high enough that it's like, oh my gosh. But you have to hold their freeway token in order to unlock those superchargers, and you have to have 20% of your portfolio in the freeway token in order to use the full extent of that. So you're better off getting like 30%. So as their use case starts to come to fruition, people are going to say, oh my gosh, I'm going to need freeway token. And at this point, they don't even care what the price of freeway token is, because they just need 20% of their total portfolio value in it. So they're not even thinking about the price per freeway token. I saw the same kind of thing happen with Celsius Network a couple years ago. And so as their use case come to fruition, people are like, wow, I want to put my money in those superchargers. Oh, I need freeway token. Then it starts driving demand for freeway token. Then demand vastly exceeds supply, and the price goes crazy. And that's why this is one of my ones that I think will 100x from here or more for my own portfolio. Make your own decision, see what you think. Maybe I'm biased towards this. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just almost always right when it comes to crypto.
Yeah. And it's just honest opinions, and everything's a probability. But yeah.
Yep.
Interesting story. Interesting setup. I'll be definitely watching it, that's for sure. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it. And see you next week.
Yeah, thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. For those of you with us, I've got Rainmaker wrap. I know I'm excited about Freeway Token. Hopefully you caught that, or my previous videos on Freeway Token. I think they're going to do some great things for all of you. Here's our Rainmaker wrap, just reinforcing the principles that I share on a daily basis. So join us. Hopefully you make some life-changing gains this cycle, combined with the crypto winter that follows in the cycle after, because that's why I came into crypto, because I realized my 20 years investment, when I saw what was happening here, that I was not going to miss this period of time. And already it's created some crazy life-changing wealth for me, and there's much more to come for not just me, but many of you who are applying good principles this cycle and stick around in the crypto winter that follows, or the bear market, and then the cycle that follows after that.
Came into the space chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, you buy before you're good. Was taught to buy when it was boring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I sit the one out cause I'm patient like that. And I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't lead with my heart. The principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Why when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, go parabolic and dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. The time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to study and to know that nothing comes easy but when knowledge to gain show. Sticking at this wrong cause soon will come a bear market. Learning and growing, and when it's slow will be the target. Naysayers come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. I'm sticking around, the time is better. I'm strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. In 2 years time the bull will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go with the hate, let the haters be crapping. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. This game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, the time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough. And that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.